Diana, Princess of Wales, has died after a car crash in Paris.
Why were the paparazzi after them? If there was no money in the photographs, they would have been after her in the tunnel. They've taken her life. They've taken her life. I'm sorry. I blame the Sun newspaper and the ilk. They killed Diana.
Diana, the Princess of Wales, holds a unique place as the most beloved member in the history of the British royal family. Acknowledged as the most photographed woman in the world, her level of love and recognition surpasses that of any living or deceased royal or celebrity. With her wedding to then Prince Charles attracting an audience of 750 million viewers and her funeral watched by a staggering 2.5 billion people worldwide. Diana's impact is unparalleled. Join us as we delve into the world's affection for the people's princess, exploring the media's treatment of her both before and after her tragic death in 1997. We'll explore how Prince Charles treated Diana during her life and after her untimely passing.
Really, it would have been far easier to have had 2 wives.
Finally, we'll discuss Charles's dirty affair with Camilla Parker-Bowles and its impact on Diana. Additionally, we'll delve into how Martin Bashir and the BBC deceived and exploited Diana, presenting fake evidence and leading her to believe that people in her inner circle were spying on her, intensifying her paranoia.
A girl given the name of the ancient goddess of hunting was, in the end, the most hunted person of the modern age.
Prince Charles and Lady Diana first met in 1977, when Diana was 16 and Charles was 29. Notably, Charles was introduced to Diana through her older sister, Lady Sarah Spencer, whom he was dating at that time. When their romance began, Prince Charles was 33, and Princess Diana was 19, highlighting a significant age difference. Throughout their courtship, the media and the public were captivated by Diana. Surprisingly, they met only 13 times before Charles proposed, leading to their engagement announced on February 24, 1981, just a few months into their relationship.
If she didn't like the idea, she could say she didn't, or if she did, she could say that. But in fact, you actually said...
Yes, quite promptly. But it wasn't a difficult decision in the end. That's what I wanted. That's what I want.
It's a tremendous change for someone, if I may say, of 19 to make all of a sudden. Not back to the nursery and not back, not back to flat sharing, presumably.
No.
You sort of made a little grimace there as if you rather liked flat sharing, and that is something.
No, I
you're
was
giving up.
referring to the children. I miss them.
You miss looking after the children.
Yes.
Well, they certainly miss you, wouldn't they?
I hope so. But I think anyone in the position we've been in would feel the pressure and everything. But it's been worthwhile, every bit of it. And next to Prince Charles, I know I can't go wrong. He's there with me.
Princess Diana and Prince Charles's wedding, held on July 29, 1981, was a grand affair attended by numerous dignitaries, celebrities, and royals from around the world. Approximately 3,500 guests witnessed the ceremony at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, while an estimated 750 million people tuned in globally to watch the televised event. Diana's iconic wedding dress, designed by Elizabeth Emanuel, featured a dramatic train that stretched 25 feet. The ceremony, steeped in tradition, took place in the historic setting of St. Paul's Cathedral, adding to the regal ambience. The public was captivated by the fairytale wedding, celebrating the union of the beloved couple. The wedding garnered widespread admiration, contributing to Diana's enduring legacy as a symbol of grace and elegance.
Diana Frances.
Hi, Diana Frances.
Take thee, Charles Philip Arthur George.
Take thee, Philip Charles Arthur George.
To my wedded husband.
To my wedded husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
This day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Till death us do part.
Following Princess Diana's wedding to Prince Charles, the public adored her for her charm and genuine personality. The initial excitement surrounding their union felt like a fairy tale romance. Over time, Diana noticed a decline in her connection with Charles, and suspicions she had before marrying him resurfaced. The turning point arrived when she stumbled upon personal items and letters exchanged between Charles and Camilla, revealing the truth she had initially brushed off.
We were opening our diaries to discuss various things. Out comes 2 pictures of Camilla. And on our honeymoon we have a white tie dinner for President Sadat. Cufflinks arrive on his wrist. 2 C's entwined like the Chanel C.
Right.
Got it in one. Knew exactly. So I said, Camilla gave you those, didn't he? He said, yes. So what's wrong? They're a present from a friend. And boy, did we have a row. Jealousy. Total jealousy.
Throughout Diana's first pregnancy, Charles remained emotionally distant. When she was 4 months pregnant with Prince William, facing loneliness and a challenging pregnancy, Diana felt so overwhelmed that she threw herself down the stairs. Despite asking Charles for love and support, he remained cold and dismissive. Diana even warned him that she'd take drastic measures if he didn't show her affection. Surprisingly, Charles thought it was a joke. Diana carefully planned her fall to avoid losing the baby. Even with Diana resorting to extreme measures for love and affection, Charles continued his affair with Camilla Parker-Bowles.
Shortly after these pictures, Diana threw herself down some stairs at Sandringham, the Queen's Norfolk estate.
The Queen must have known that there were all sorts of problems almost from the word go. So without us knowing, and she hid this very well, she was aware that Diana was having an incredibly difficult time settling down to married life.
Despite Charles's disloyalty to Diana, the public remained steadfast in their love and admiration for her. The paparazzi and media were becoming more obsessed with Diana. The overwhelming love and support she received from the public fueled jealousy, especially from Charles and other members of the royal family. Charles couldn't comprehend the media's fascination with Diana.
But I never fainted before in my life, and we'd been walking around for 4 hours and we hadn't had any food. And presumably I hadn't eaten for days beforehand. When I say that, I mean the food staying down. And I remember walking around and feeling really ghastly, and I didn't dare tell anyone I felt ghastly because I thought they'd think I was whinging. I put my arm on my husband's shoulder and I said, darling, I think I'm about to disappear. And slid down the side of him. My husband told me off. He said I could have passed out quietly somewhere else. Everybody always said when we were in the car, oh, we're on the wrong side. We want to see her, we don't want to see him. And that's all we could hear as we went down these crowds. And obviously he wasn't used to that, nor was I. He took it out on me, he was jealous. I understood the jealousy, but I couldn't explain that I didn't ask for it.
The couple noticeably had problems in their marriage, and it got worse after Prince Harry was born. Charles was disappointed that Harry was a boy and didn't like that he had red hair, resembling the Spencer side of the family.
My husband won't even talk to Mummy, barely. Because at Harry's christening, Charles went up to Mummy and said, you know, he was so disappointed, we thought it would be a girl. And Mummy snapped his head off and said, you should realise how lucky you are to have a child that's normal.
Skipping to 1994, where things got really messy when Andrew Morton released serialized stories in the Daily Mail newspaper titled Diana, Her True Story. Although Morton claimed Diana's friends as the source, it was actually Diana herself who shared all the personal and deep details. The stories included Diana's 5 suicide attempts, with the last one in 1986 involving an overdose. The royal family was upset, suspecting Diana of leaking the stories, but Andrew Morton wouldn't confirm or deny. Diana and Andrew would never meet, instead Diana's friend James acted as a middleman. The tapes for the book were kept in one place, and notes were kept in another. James spent hours recording Diana talking about the tough times she faced in the royal family. In the recordings, Diana even spoke about the time she confronted Camilla about her relationship with Charles.
So I said, Camilla, let's sit down. So we sat down, and I was terrified of her. And I said, Camilla, I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what's going on. And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that. And she said to me, very interesting, she said to me, you've got everything you've ever wanted. All the men in the world fall in love with you. You've got 2 beautiful children, what more do you want? And I didn't believe what she said anyway. So I said, I want my husband.
Charles appeared to dig himself into a deeper hole when he spoke with biographer Jonathan Dimbleby. He addressed rumors of infidelity after Andrew Morton's book about Diana was published. Dimbleby famously asked Charles, "Did you make an effort to be faithful and honorable to your wife when you took your marriage vows?" During the interview, Charles would continuously deny his affair with Camilla.
Were you faithful and honorable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
And you were?
Yes.
It's crucial to note that Charles continued to deny his affair even when there was evidence. Now, let's discuss Tampongate. In January 1993, the Sunday Mirror released a 6-minute phone recording between Charles and Camilla. These recordings date back to 1989 when both were still married. Charles expressed peculiar desires, such as wanting to live inside Camilla's trousers and joking about turning into a tampon.
I can't bear a Sunday night without you. Oh, God, I fill up your tank. Yes, you do. How do you do? Sometimes I need you several times a week. So do I. I need you all the week. All the time. I don't think you're going to come back as a penny because... God forbid a tampax.
It's important to highlight that Camilla and, more broadly, the women in Camilla's family are openly known for being mistresses to royal men.
Camilla Parker-Bowles is married to Charles's polo-playing friend, Andrew. It's not the first time her family has been linked with royal scandal. Camilla's great-grandmother was Edward VII's mistress, Mrs. Alice Keppel.
Now, let's move on to Diana's well-known Panorama interview. While we're familiar with what Diana said during the interview, not everyone might know how it all came about.
Your Royal Highness, how prepared were you for the pressures that came with marrying into the royal family?
At the age of 19, you always think you're prepared for everything, and you think you have the knowledge of what's coming ahead. But although I was daunted at the prospect at the time, I felt I had the support of my husband-to-be.
What were the expectations that you had for married life?
I think like any marriage, especially when you've had divorced parents like myself, you'd want to try even harder to make it work, and you don't want to fall back into a pattern that you've seen happen in your own family. I desperately wanted to work. I desperately loved my husband, and I wanted to share everything together, and I thought that we were a very good team.
Let's examine how the media, specifically journalist Martin Bashir, manipulated Diana. Allegedly, Martin met with Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, and presented him with fake bank statements indicating that members of Diana's inner circle were paid to spy on her. Martin convinced Charles to persuade Diana to participate in the famous Panorama interview where everything was revealed. In an investigation by retired Judge Lord Dyson, it was found that the BBC, Martin Bashir's employer, was aware of the lies and collaborated to cover them up. Adding to the dismay, the then director of news, Tony Hall, wrote to Martin congratulating him on his deceptive tactics. Now, let's move on to Diana's life after her divorce and the unfortunate incident of her tragic death in Paris caused by the paparazzi. After divorcing Prince Charles, Diana faced both public and personal challenges. Despite the end of her marriage, she continued to be a prominent figure in the public eye. Diana dedicated herself to numerous charitable causes, focusing on issues like landmines, AIDS awareness, and homelessness. Her post-divorce life also involved raising her 2 sons, Princes William and Harry, and navigating the complexities of co-parenting within the royal context. Diana's style and grace continued to captivate the world, and her humanitarian efforts left a lasting impact, shaping her legacy beyond the boundaries of her royal marriage.
How long will you have to wait before we actually get started?
From this step to the first trial in 2 days, 3 days. Depends. If he's living in our dormitory, this could be the day after. If he's in town, maybe so we let them wait a few more days. People coming from far, we give them. This section, we have no physical, they are only the technician, because he has to make some correction to the alignments before. All you have to this is in fact.
Does he feel like vertigo falling forward?
This is BBC One. We've interrupted our programmes for a news report. We're now...
Diana, Princess of Wales, has been seriously injured in a car accident in Paris. Her companion, the Harrods heir Dodi Fayed, has been killed.
Let's discuss the night that shook the world. On August 31st, 1997, Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed tragically lost their lives due to the paparazzi's intense obsession. The media relentlessly pursued the couple, craving exclusive stories and glimpses into their private lives, turning their personal moments into a public spectacle. As the unfortunate events unfolded, the paparazzi's pursuit took a fatal turn in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Henri Paul, the driver, crashed the car into a pillar, resulting in Dodi Fayed's tragic death at the scene. Princess Diana, critically injured, was rushed to the hospital, but despite medical efforts, she succumbed to her injuries, leaving the world in shock and mourning the loss of a beloved figure. Adding to the tragedy, it later emerged that Henri Paul was under the influence of alcohol during the crash, emphasizing the severe consequences of impaired driving and contributing to the narrative of avoidable circumstances leading to the untimely deaths of Diana and Dodi. In the chaotic aftermath of the crash, the paparazzi, who had relentlessly chased the couple, descended upon the wreckage. Shockingly, instead of offering assistance, some photographers began taking pictures of the injured occupants, including Princess Diana. This heartless behavior showcased a blatant disregard for human decency, sparking outrage and prompting a reassessment of the ethics and responsibility of media professionals in their pursuit of sensational stories. The tragic night in Paris not only marked the loss of 3 lives, but also became a pivotal moment in the ongoing conversation about the limits of media intrusion and the repercussions of unchecked paparazzi pursuit.
Confirmation from our very own Foreign Secretary Robin Cook, who's in the Far East at the moment, that Diana, Princess of Wales, has in fact been killed in that car accident in Paris. Just a few hours ago there had been extreme concern that Diana was very seriously injured when she was taken from the wreckage. There was a news blackout to all intents and purposes for a significant amount of time. Confirmation from the Interior Minister from Paris for a short time, and now there is confirmation that Diana, Princess of Wales, has died. She died at 4 a.m. after going into cardiac arrest. That, according to doctors at the hospital in Paris, Diana, Princess of Wales, is dead.
In the hours following Princess Diana's passing, Prince Charles, accompanied by Princess Diana's sisters, Lady Sarah and Lady Jane, swiftly traveled to Paris to bring her body back home. However, Queen Elizabeth initially opposed Prince Charles's involvement, believing it wasn't his responsibility. Disagreements between the Queen and Prince Charles emerged regarding the handling of Diana's death, with the Queen initially resistant to the idea of a royal funeral. The Queen's stance created tension, as she preferred a more private affair. However, public outcry and a desire for a fitting tribute to the people's princess ultimately led to a change of heart. Despite the initial disagreements, Prince Charles and Diana's sisters played crucial roles in orchestrating a funeral that honored her memory. Queen Elizabeth found herself at the center of significant public backlash and global scrutiny, as 5 days had passed without the Queen addressing the world about Princess Diana's death. The prolonged silence fueled public perception that the royal family, by not promptly acknowledging Diana's passing, was repeating the dismissiveness she had experienced during her life. This delay intensified the perception that Diana was being disrespected even in death. The British public and the world were vocal in their disappointment and frustration, demanding a more immediate and compassionate response from the royal family during this time of collective mourning. The Queen was eventually forced to address Diana's passing.
Since last Sunday's dreadful news, we have seen throughout Britain and around the world an overwhelming expression of sadness at Diana's death. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile and laugh, nor to inspire others with her warmth and kindness. I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, and especially for her devotion to her 2 boys. This week at Balmoral, we have all been trying to help William and Harry come to terms with the devastating loss that they and the rest of us have suffered. No one who knew Diana will ever forget her. Millions of others who never met her, but felt they knew her, will remember her.
Princess Diana's funeral, on September 6, 1997, held at London's Westminster Abbey, was a deeply emotional and globally significant event. The choice of Westminster Abbey, with its rich historical and royal significance, reflected Diana's importance in the royal family and wider cultural context. The grand setting emphasized the immense public grief. The funeral service itself, filled with emotional tributes, drew thousands inside and outside the Abbey, while 2.5 billion tuned in globally. The overwhelming turnout highlighted Diana's profound impact, touching people across borders.